Welcome to another UCL Fantasy video ahead of Matchday 5, and this will be the best wildcard team. You can also check out the best limitless team video as well as the team selection, but just bear in mind that all of these videos could be slightly out of date in terms of some bits of information. There could be new injuries, for example, because this is recorded very early on in the week. I will be away later on this week, and there will be a Matchday 6 deadline stream, but it's very unlikely that there will be one for Matchday 5. If anything changes, I will let you know, and let's try to get this video to over 300 likes. If you have any suggestions of your own in terms of the best wildcard team for Matchday 5, then I'm all ears, and we can also try to push on towards 16,000 subscribers, and we're very close to that milestone, so thank you very much. And without further ado, let's get straight into this video. On a wildcard, I would go for Kepa Arrizabalaga and Diego Costa. Now, I will admit, I do prefer Mignolet over Diego Costa, and they are facing each other in Matchday 5, but I would rather cover Club Brugge defensively with one of their budget defenders rather than going for a Porto defender. Diego Costa has a really high ceiling. He has gotten penalty saves in his last 2 match days, and he also has got an assist on top of some clean sheets and save points. So he has been looking really good, 15 and 16 points. It's not sustainable, but on a wildcard, I would go for these two. I think it's a really good combination, and you can also cover a Club Brugge clean sheet, which is possible for sure. They've kept one in every single Champions League game so far this season. You can cover that with one of their budget defenders. And as for Kepa, he performed so well against Aston Villa. He was man of the match. He made some crucial saves, some of them being absolutely world class. And I could see him, if he starts the next 2, getting some more clean sheets and also getting some save points on top of that. So I think he's actually one of the best goalkeeper options at the moment, and he should be the #1 goalkeeper for Chelsea for quite some time. The only thing is that if Chelsea do qualify very, very soon, then they could play Mendy in the last few match days, and that will also have an impact, of course, and Kepa will be reserved for the Premier League and also other competitions. But if all is good, Kepa's a really good choice. Normally we can rely on Bayern Munich and Real Madrid defenders, but Real Madrid could rotate, especially with players like Carvajal, and they could play Vasquez instead, and I would be a bit wary about that over the next 2 match days. And remember, Matchday 6 typically is just rotation galore, so imagine if we've already had rotation in some of the last few match days, and there probably will be more in Matchday 5. Imagine how bad Matchday 6 could be. So I will try to go for defenders and also players in general who still have something to play for, that still might be able to qualify but haven't done it just yet. And Reinildo Mandava is a really good example. Atletico Madrid are bottom of their group, with Club Brugge obviously qualifying there in first position. Porto are looking pretty decent to finish in second place, but Atletico Madrid still have a chance of qualifying, and Reinildo Mandava was exceptional last season in terms of ball recoveries. He's already gotten a few returns this season as a result, and also some fortunate clean sheets by being taken off before Atletico Madrid concede, but I still think he's a good option. He's relatively cheap as well. Di Lorenzo is playing in a great Napoli side at the moment. He's offensive, he gets some goal contributions, and he can also get man of the match awards like he did in a 6-1 victory away to Ajax. Joao Cancelo speaks for himself. I think he's the best defender in FPL, and more so in UCL Fantasy, where I think there's a bigger gap between him and the rest. And then I've gone for a Club Brugge defender, and I haven't really covered these in any of these videos, wildcard or limitless, but they've just done an exceptional job. I didn't expect it, and fair play to them. So I have gone for Michele. He's decent for ball recoveries. He's also gotten 7 or 8 points every single match day, and whilst I don't expect a clean sheet every single time Club Brugge play, as I think eventually they will concede, and it could happen in match days 5 or 6, you can't go wrong for 4.3 million. He's also a mega differential at only 2% ownership. Obviously, Joao Cancelo is going to be a really, really template pick, as you can see there. But then you've got the others like Di Lorenzo, 8% ownership. That's also very encouraging. Reinildo Mandava, 21%. That's a bit more of a template pick. But then look at Kepa, 4% ownership. And then we go to Diego Costa, 3% as well. So you've already got some mega differentials in the back line, and I think this is looking pretty solid. The last one to cover is Christian Romero, who is a fantastic UCL Fantasy option during his time at Atalanta, and whilst he hasn't reached the same heights at Spurs so far, he is still a good UCL Fantasy option, and he has the most points of any Spurs defender, even more than Ivan Perisic, and his ownership is only at 3%, and I could see at least 1 clean sheet from the remaining 2 on top of a few bonus points. You could easily get yet another 8-pointer. So I like this back line. It might not look the best on paper. You don't cover the absolute best teams, but you also have to think about possible rotation and also the fixtures that are also going to be problematic. Despite facing Manchester City in matchday 5, I would go for Jude Bellingham, who has been the best midfielder so far this season with 4 goals in 4 consecutive games. He also is a Man of the Match award machine. He can get assists, ball recoveries, he's a jack of all trades. And also that matchday 6 fixture against Copenhagen could also be very enticing, and Dortmund still have something to play for. And I could see Bellingham even scoring or assisting against Manchester City and also getting points from other avenues. So I think he's a great pick regardless. Mohamed Salah has looked in excellent form against Rangers, a hat-trick in only 6 minutes, a Champions League all-time record, and he also scored against Man City. So despite facing Ajax, I think he could get some joy. Ajax are pretty poor defensively as well, so I could see Salah getting some returns. Matchday 6 as well might not be the greatest fixture, but at home to Napoli, I wouldn't be surprised of a goal or something like that. And then Leroy Sané, I know he's facing Barcelona away, but once again, I have so much confidence in him, regardless of the fixture, regardless of the circumstances. I think he's a great UCL Fantasy option. The only possible concern would be rotation, and I think he will play against Barcelona, but maybe matchday 6 he will be rotated because Bayern by that point would have qualified and be in a really strong position to finish first, so there's no need to play their best players. And once more players are available in the winger positions and also attacking midfield, they don't necessarily need to play Leroy Sané. So that might be something to think about in the future, and you can go for someone else entirely. But Kvaratskhelia is looking like a great choice, and even if he misses out on matchday 6 because of rotation, he will start in matchday 5 against Rangers, and he is looking absolutely exceptional this season. The most goal contributions in Serie A, and he also has gotten back-to-back double-digit returns in UCL Fantasy, so you can't go wrong. And then the last midfielder, and the one that I've kind of left for now, is Florentino at 4.5 million, and that's mainly to facilitate some more expensive forwards and also a more balanced squad across every single position. But he can get you 3 to 4 points every single match day. He's only 4.5 million, and he's an enabler. He's 13% owned. You look at the rest, Kvaratskhelia at 14%, so decent ownership. Leroy Sané is at 24% still, and really it should be much higher. And you look at Salah, who's only at 8%, and it was even lower before his recent hauls in the Champions League and Premier League. And the other one is Jude Bellingham, who is more of a template pick, but as you can see, a really nice balance in terms of ownership and also a very balanced squad overall. I have Jukla in my own team, and he's the 3rd highest scoring forward in the game, only behind Lewandowski and Mbappe, but I have favoured Napoli and Raspadori because of that fixture against Rangers, and you can always move Raspadori on to Jukla in matchday 6, but just a few reasons for that kind of pick and that switch is because Raspadori has the better fixture in matchday 5, and also Napoli still need to seal qualification. Club Brugge have already done so, so they could rotate. It's a bit more likely for them to do so, but I have to say Raspadori, despite only scoring once in Serie A, he has been fantastic in the Champions League, and I wouldn't be surprised if he scored a brace or a hat-trick against Rangers. Haaland speaks for himself. He is facing Dortmund away, and they kept him quiet for most of the game the last time they faced off in matchday 2, but he ended up scoring a goal late on, and I could see something similar happening this time round, so maybe 1 or 2 goals. I don't see anything mega, although you can never discount Erling Haaland, but he is just such a great pick in any single match day. And then Kylian Mbappe at home to Maccabi Haifa, who have been fairly decent in the Champions League this season, but you would expect PSG to score 2 or 3 goals at least, and Mbappe is the best possible option from them in terms of man of the match awards, goals, and also he's just so selfish. It's what you want to see in a UCL Fantasy asset, and I think he's got a great chance of returns, even higher than the likes of Neymar and Messi, who have had better seasons so far. But Mbappe in the Champions League, I think, is the better option. He'll score more goals and once again get more man of the match awards. So as you can see, if you go through the ownership very briefly as well, Mbappe is at 43%, you've got Haaland at 63%, very template picks, but Raspadori only 3% ownership, a great way to boost your rank, obviously if it does go all according to plan, which sometimes it doesn't, but I have to say that fixture against Rangers is definitely worth targeting. And ahead of that Liverpool game at Anfield, where you'd still expect Napoli to struggle a little bit despite them being the better team this season, you can start to trim down these Napoli players, especially Raspadori, but as a one-week punt, I have to say Raspadori is arguably one of the very best options. We have some bad news, and Leroy Sané is going to be out indefinitely with a thigh injury. It has been confirmed by Bayern Munich themselves. He picked up this injury during the weekend. He actually scored in that game, but he is a big injury now, and Bild are reporting that he could miss up to 3 weeks, and if the injury turns out to be more serious, then he could actually be in danger of missing the World Cup. So hopefully he recovers very soon, and with Leroy Sané, who do you replace him with on the wildcard? He will not feature in any of these teams, including my team selection and the best limitless team, but on the wildcard, I would heavily consider Mason Mount. I don't think there's any clear standouts to replace him, and in the midfield, because we only have 2 City players in this team, you could go for Phil Foden or maybe Bernardo Silva or another City midfielder, but just bear in mind that a lot of these City assets are in danger of rotation, especially in matchday 6, should they already seal qualification and first position. So Mason Mount is probably one of the more obvious replacements. And how much would this squad cost overall? 101.1 million as a result. Otherwise, it would have been a bit more expensive than that. So let me know if you like this team, and do you think Mason Mount is the best Leroy Sané replacement on the wildcard? It is a shame because I think Sané is that much better than the rest at his price and below, apart from Jude Bellingham perhaps and Kvaratskhelia at this moment in time. But there you go, you've got to adapt to these situations, and it also opens up the possibilities of gaining rank on those that maybe aren't aware or that are going to struggle with their Leroy Sané replacements. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this video to over 300 likes, and let's also push on towards 16,000 subscribers. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and also check the links in the description below, including the Discord server, the UCL Fantasy League, the Patreon, and the channel memberships. All of that is there. I wish you all the best of luck for Matchday 5 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.